As I was getting ready this morning, there was a messaging coming through about performative love and the notion of love not being enough. I don't know whether this is something that this collective you are currently working through, or it feels like a sense of desperation around this collective, and maybe it's coming from another. That why can't... If things look okay on the outside, well, that means that they're okay. And I what they were showing me was, and why isn't that enough? Why isn't that enough? You know, I just feel like this collective, there are so many boxes that are ticked, so many boxes that look amazing, But I want this collective to not neglect what you are feeling. Things can look amazing from the outside and be rotten to the core. Words can feel amazing, but if actions are creating some form of different experience, that is something that can't be neglected. Now, what they were showing me was a pie, and about 7/8 of the pie looked amazing, but there was 1/8 that was completely rotten. And it was almost like this person just tried to keep taking away that piece of the pie and say, oh, well, we just won't worry about that part. Well, we just don't look at that part and everything. It's just like, look at everything else that remains. Look at everything else that is good. And why can't that be enough? But what that part of the pie has created is, well, it's tainted. It's tainted. The rest, everything else that was good, has been affected by that one piece that is no good. And no matter how much you cut away, it can't be severed, not fully. And I think for this collective, you need to not neglect what it is that you're feeling. Devil, it can't be cut away. Devils are about attachment. Very insidious form of energy. This is that urgency, that desperation. Well, why can't we just move on? Why can't we just move forward? But there feels like there's this notion of just needing to move forward, but without having fully addressed these aspects, which have led to the point where you are. It's like an energy of something that can't be unseen, no matter how hard you try. That's the message for this collective, the strength. You know, I think for this collective, for long enough, you have tried to tame what it is that you're feeling internally. 3 of Cups. This could even be associated with some kind of friendship. Page of Cups, 8 of Wands. It could be some kind of apology, some kind of communication that you're waiting on at the moment. Strength. 9 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, you're neglecting your own happiness. 9 of Cups in reverse, it's about a lack of inner joy. And I think for so long, this collective, on the surface, you have appeared as a tower of strength. But this whole time, you've been completely neglecting what it is internally that you need. Internally, what this experience is actually creating for you. This is the turmoil that within you've been trying to tame by how you present on the surface, that performative love. Now, this 3 of Cups, it could be friendship, but it could also be someone that you've recently reunited with. And I feel for this collective, it's like this small apology, this small token, emotional token has moved towards you, and there's this expectation that everything's going to be fine and we can take off exactly where we left off. But this collective, I do not want you to neglect what it is that you truly feel. And for a while, it looks like you've been doing that. What do you internally need? You cannot neglect that internal voice and what it is screaming at you. I feel for this collective, you are in a dynamic where one of you has this kind of sweet excitement that everything's going to be okay. That everything's going to be okay. And for the other, I just don't think it's as simple as that. Feminine energy, you've got the woman. And maybe even yourself. There it is. Maybe even yourself. I think this collective, you've had recent communication from someone, and maybe even yourself when this came towards you, you had this sense of relief that everything's going to be okay. But I don't think it took very long to realize that love in this situation, it's still not enough. You've got the fox, self-interest, stealth, deceit. It feels all about them. It feels all about them. And I think immediately this collective, you are realizing that in this dynamic, you once again are going to have to neglect your internal needs if you agree to this interaction, if you agree to this relationship, if you agree for things to move forward. And I think this is not the first time that you've had to do this. This does not mean that they are not broken internally. What is happening below the surface for this collective? That is what is important here. There is more than meets the eye to whatever dynamic this is. And I will tell you this, it doesn't matter if other people don't understand why it is that you're making the choices that you're making, because it's your life. Do not neglect. This is what I mean. It's like this signed, sealed, delivered, everything's fine, everything's happening, we're back on track, off we go. And I think for this collective, it's not that simple. Page of Cups, Knight of Cups. Yeah, it's like these small offerings that are coming in. But I think for this collective, all it's doing is creating confusion. I haven't got a king here. I haven't got an emperor. I haven't got a hierophant or an empress or the high priestess. This is bare minimum. This is bare minimum. And you're right. There's a reason why this is creating confusion, because it is not enough. This is how this collective is feeling. You're confused. Why? Why is it that I still don't feel complete? Why is it that I still don't feel whole? And I think for this collective, maybe once upon a time you thought that this small token, this small gesture, that would be enough for you. But clearly, whatever has been taking place in the in-between, you've soon realized that small gestures, breadcrumbs, love clearly isn't enough when it comes to this dynamic anymore.